Greetings, fellow humans, and here's the second video talking about the human cycle as I reread and continue to work on book 3 of the human cycle. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the philosophy behind a couple of the underlying concepts of the novel and the series. So, second off, okay, to explain, Only Human, first book. This explores the physical plane, the body. Shadow of a Human explores the mental mind. And Beyond Human explores the soul. Within this concept, we explore different planes of existence. Hinted at on the first book in terms of there being a mid-dimension and a hell. Second book explores that a lot more. Third book really triples down on it because it's the third book. So there's the world. There is Hayun, which is the mid-dimension. There is an underworld that includes hell, limbo, purgatory, and within this there's actually a large demon city that has actually been abandoned by demons and overtaken by other people. I will not ruin whom or why or what. And then there's heaven. So all of these planes of existence are connected in some way or another. I wanted to have a little bit of Dante Alighieri, a little bit of the flavor that you see in the Divine Comedy, but a very different aspect to it. Basically, hell can be so many things, and I wanted to show that this underworld that is connected, because I have seen hell and I've seen limbo, but that there's borders and there's divisions, and to get from one place to another, you see that the evolution through the path, and that hell might be an awful place, but might not be the worst of the lot. And other places that get a bad rap might be better than we think, or at least kinder. Not better, kinder. I think it would be better to describe it as kinder. So there's the mid-dimension, and I do want to talk about that a bit more. The mid-dimension is explored a lot more in book 2. It's Hayun, spelling on the screen. And then within Hayun, there is a city called Shadulhu. That's just me being cheeky with myself, because for the longest time reading Lovecraft, I didn't know that it was Cthulhu. And I would say Cthulhu because an Italian part of me thought it was Cthulhu, So Shadulhu is that, and also it's also a misnomer in terms of it sounds kind of like Shadow World. So that one varies a lot. It's not that every place in this world has its counterpart, its shadow counterpart, but there is a shadow world, and it is fed and molded by the collective unconscious. What does that mean? There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of television out there. There's a lot of people working out there. There's a lot of people thinking out there. We're getting to 8 billion people in the world. A bit too much, but hey, it is what it is. Every night, there's some people that have trouble sleeping, etc. But we go to sleep and we dream, and we have that need to sleep. And within sleep, we have dreams, and there's the collective unconscious. We also explore the collective unconscious, and we do explore it in Shadow of a Human a bit more. The thing is that that's not necessarily a plane of existence. Collective unconscious is something that exists outside of time. So it's a bit complicated, but the best way that I can describe it, there's the world. Under the world, There's hell, limbo, purgatory, and within one of these regions, there's that big demon city. There's hell, and between heaven and earth, there's Hayun, the mid dimension. So it's my way of saying that between us and heaven, there's a world of dreams, or is the world that is molded by the collective unconscious. The things that the collective unconscious is, it's not slumberland, it's not neverland. It is intense, it is constantly shifting. The city of Shadulu, the streets can just get up and walk. Some buildings get up and walk away. Other buildings are more permanent fixtures. That's just my way of saying that our mental state varies and fluctuates and changes and morphs and evolves. And sometimes stuff that was really essential to us goes away as we get older. It's not that we outgrew it, it's that maybe we just have no purpose for it, or we just stop being interested. There's a million possibilities. It is a bit dense in terms of explaining it, but we do explain it a lot more in book 3. Shadow of a Human, the sequel to Only Human, I wanted to show a trajectory and stuff that was happening in the real world, in this existential plane, and what was happening in the mid-dimension. Have that race going on, and it's like, this is going a bit ahead, this is going a bit ahead, and eventually they overlap and interlace and connect. And then from being fragmented in book 3, we dive into a lot of these locations and their explanation, what each place is, what it feels like, what it smells like, what it tastes like. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to explain Hayun and to explore that mid-dimension. Then in book 3, there's a lot of turmoil in this place. In book 2, there's stagnant feeling. And from stagnant, we find conflict. And we shift towards conflict. And that's a lot of what we explore in Beyond Human. The different conflicts that we have and the conflicting versions of things that we have. The idea to combine or put it in the same or nearby places, to have hell, limbo, purgatory floating in the same space, kind of comes from Greek and Roman mythology, talking about Hades and Elysium fields and stuff like that, where you go like, okay, they're kind of nearby. So it's a little bit of that, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of that too. There's some people that can freely shift from one plane of existence to another. There are some that have the ability to travel, but it definitely takes its toll. There is a mode of transportation that can endure any transition to any plane, but there is a price to pay. And if you're willing to pay it, you will discover all of these. So yeah, Sheol, the underworld, that comes actually from Judaism. And I like taking elements from Judaism and from Islam and from Christianity, Judeo-Christianity, and stuff like that. And just mixing it together, because if you research enough religion, you'll see characters that overlap, stories that overlap. You might switch out the name, but it's the same story. And it's amazing to me that we're so convinced in fighting each other that we don't realize that we have more in common, that we have differences. But that's the world we live in, and it's like, my religion is better than your religion, which is, it is what it is. I don't subscribe to that opinion. Let's put it that way. And part of this really complicated scenario and explanation of the planes of existence comes from my point of view, which is agnostic. Agnosticism is defined as saying we don't have the capacity to understand really what's going on out there. And we do the best that we can with what we have. Rather than having definite answers, it's more inferences, theories, and stuff like that, but it's being open to the possibility of anything. And this series has been an invitation to explore the possibility of any and everything. Possibility that some vampires are kind, that some demons are holy, that some angels are evil, that some pure people have a bad heart. And being able to explore that in several planes of existence. It's been really interesting, and what I can say is that the colors that you see and that are transmitted and are captured in the different places definitely play into it. Obviously, I did want to lean into hell having those black, red colors just because it's something that's ingrained in us, but also so that it could be a very stark contrast between that and purgatory, which everything's gray and drab, and that demon city, it's just more of that black, red. And heaven is those classical heaven colors. There's like light blues and stuff like that. But, and Hayon and Shadulhu, the buildings are black, but there's a lot of green in it. And there's a lot of green and there's purple hues and stuff like that. There's more than one sun, more than one moon. And finally, limbo, which is normally described as a type of purgatory in this story. It is golden. And it is golden, and it is very different from anything that I've ever read, because I really wanted to capture something that helped me to say goodbye to someone that I loved a lot, and someone that was important in my life. And what I wish upon some people that might be lost. Because just because you're lost doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you're lost. And for me, the state of limbo is being lost. But not hopeless. That's purgatory. So obviously, there's an invitation to read. I think it's going to be best as soon as I release the third book to read back to back. That's just it's not me trying to upsell you. It's me saying, if you want to get the full experience and understand where I'm coming from with everything, rereading Only Human has helped me tie into a lot of really cool things that I'm really impressed and really happy about. So by all means, dive in. I'll leave the links down below so that you can check out the books. If you want to join me reading Only Human, you can do that. If you have questions about Shadow of a Human, ask away. If you have questions about any of my books, the books are on the Zon. There are actually two titles that are left in Tazas y Portadas, which are two poetry collections. One is a compilation of poetry collections, and the other one is one of my recent poetry collections. I'll leave the links down below. Mi channel is tu channel. In the sexy comments section down below, it's there for a reason. So by all means, use it, abuse it, and let's have a chat. Let's have a proper chat. And till next time, peace, love, and Maki rolls.